Good morning to everyone. Happy Saturday. All right, I think we're ready to get going, huh? Grab some brushes. And, get rolling on this, huh? Let's see. Put that in the right spot. There we go. Good morning, Emily. Getting in my seat. Medium. A little bit of a late start today. Well, I got up really early, so I like to think I had an excuse. Dog had some tummy problems, so I had to get him out for a walk really early. Let's see. Looks like I busted some hairs on him. There we go. All right. What is next? What do I want to do first? All right, let's see. Red. All right, do darker than that. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday, right? Good. All right. Break this already for some reason. Okay. There we go. Get some detail going in there, right? Good morning. Let's see. Good morning. I appreciate that. Good morning. Over there on Kick. Just getting rolling on this today. Hopefully get it pretty close. I'd like to finish it maybe tomorrow if possible. So I'm just kind of detailing it back to front mostly. I know I wanted some of these foreground things going on, so it's kind of what we're doing today. So I'm trying to push this forward today. Maybe y'all can help me out. What is she pulling out of there or putting in? Hello. Happy Saturday, right? Oh, more kick people. What's going on over there? Find some music. I appreciate that. This is, I've explained it many times before on here, but, obviously everyone's time in here is news at some point. But basically, um, acrylic has been a medium I've avoided for a very long time. So, like the last time until this last year that I did anything finished in it was when I was a student, 20 odd years ago at my university. And I kind of, that's a little off the face, but um, so the last, I teach at a university now as a professor, and I had to teach a class last semester, and we couldn't use oil, so I was like, well, let's use acrylic instead. And I haven't used it forever, but we'll see how it goes. So, um, I taught it once before, but I didn't really use it very much. Like I did a few sketches or whatever in it. Um, and I did a piece I actually kind of liked, so I was like, well, um, maybe I should give this some more attention. So that's what this is about. Like I'm really comfortable with oil painting or gouache or watercolor to a certain degree, but I've always had like a hate for acrylic paint, and I think part of it was looking back. I just didn't really know how to paint as a student, so that'll kind of get in your way of enjoying something, right? Learning how to do things can be frustrating, and then you find something that's easier or more pleasant, or you've gained enough experience that it seems that way, right? So like it seemed like oil painting was easier because I was getting more experience with it, but so I just avoided it. There's plenty of things to do with other stuff. It's not like you have to learn all the mediums or whatever, um, but I was like, hey, I'll give this thing another go, see what I think, and so I've been doing these acrylic paintings the last month or so. So basically, the idea here is I've just taken some random reference and I'm blending it together and having her do something. So the pose for she comes from a reference pack, I think a Graphit one. In the original drawing, original photograph, she's actually nude, but I'm just using that pose as kind of a reference point. I need to put like the orange light on her too and stuff. That's coming down the line here in a bit. But someone was commenting on that the other day. It's like, she doesn't fit in the light. I know. Trust me, I know all about it. But so I'm just kind of combining references together into new images as a kind of a practice thing. And usually I spend an hour or two on this kind of I call it morning studies most every day. Just because the level of detail I'm trying to get on these, so I spend like a little bit more time. I might work on this through lunch or up until lunch, and then call it a day on this and get to my other stuff. But so that's kind of what's going on here, and So that's more or less the story of what's going on in this picture. It's just it's practice. I want to start doing. I think I might after this. I got one more page left in this sketchbook, so I might fill that out. It's this heavy duty paper. What I might start doing is some concept stuff for my little comic project. So environments and things. I kind of like the idea of these older concept pieces I see by like Ralph McQuarrie or Sid Mead or Doug Chang, where they're working a lot in acrylics. And so I thought about doing some of that. Part of it too is like, if I'm doing personal work, I've been thinking like, it's okay to do digital enough, but I'd rather, make a real object these days, especially with the all the AI nonsense going on. I'd rather just make real things. So so yeah. So I'm kind of going through here and now I'm trying to detail up what I got going on here. And kind of work back to front is usually what I like to do. So I'm just adding in some of these branches, and then actually I need to go back behind there and just a little emphasis on these. Is that better for me? Oops, that's too much light. There we go. Wrong button. It's got this little glare over here in this corner. It makes it hard to see. So, yeah. So that's my story. Ah. fit there. Good morning. Soften some of these edges back with this wash here. Let's see. Goes away. There, that feels better-ish. This area back here, some darker tones. There, that's much better, less flat. Pushing some ambient occlusion in there. Help knock that back a little bit. Same down here, just push that down a little bit. But, feels better. You're 95 kilogram, 5'4". It's an interesting mix of measurements there. Where are you from? It's in kilograms and feet. I don't know, maybe as many as you'd like, right? 6, 7, maybe? Is that what the ideal number is these days? Or 2 months ago? Whenever that was funny. I mean, 95 kilograms seems like a lot. So, it seems pretty heavy. Alright. It does feel much, much better here. I need to get the rim on this pipe thing here going. I mean, I had to guess, right? Put a rim on that. I need some. Trying to figure out what she's pulling out. I was thinking putting something down here so that she's actually extracting something, I guess, out of there. Where is this art from? It's from me mixing a bunch of different reference sources together. So I have some pose reference out. I have some outfits. I have textures for the trees and the background. Well, I don't have a texture for that. That's what's made up. But this is like this is a practice exercise for me. So one of the things I wanted to get better at this year was painting in acrylics. So I've been doing photo studies and other things, and so this is a mixture of different things. So it's more of like an illustration than just a copy of a photograph, which I have been doing. So that's what this is. So she's just put a little story scene together, see what we do with it, and I'm just kind of practicing using this material. It's material I always had kind of trouble with as a student. And so I was like, hey, maybe I can get better at this after some experiences last fall. So I was like, well, maybe I should invest some time in acrylic painting and see what I can come up with here. So, yeah, definitely, especially mine, right? Everyone needs to appreciate me. Um, yeah, but I know our art streams aren't very popular, so I don't have to worry about that very much. But you definitely follow me over on Instagram at Rainland Studios. If you want to go over and appreciate things. Too light, too light. Yeah, Rainland Studios. Actually, I had a post pop off over there recently. I've never had a post quite go that popular, and I don't know why. I'm completely flummoxed by it. I have no idea what made it go viral like that, for me at least. I'm very confused. But yeah, it's nice to have, like, I picked up like for 1,000 new followers in a very short period of time. I just don't know why. One post got like 20, nearly 23,000 likes now for some reason. Usually I get a few hundred, maybe 1,000 on something. That's an actual post or a reel, but nothing like that. Sheesh. You'll find me live streaming over there too right now. So yeah, I mean, I see what I saw. I'm just worried about the reason why. Like what about it was so unique? And all I did is I was filling up these sketchbook pages. What I do is, like, if you flip this over, like, everything's filled up on this side of the page. These are just sketchbook pages here. It's heavy duty paper, but I'm just kind of using this as practice. And for myself, I teach at this university, and I wanted to get better at this skill since I've taught this class. And um, but I've been practicing, and now what I did in the video is basically I taped over, because I would just put random things on the page. I had a figure there, and a figure here, and a figure over here, and then I painted in these figures in the front, and then I taped over this one on the left and painted a background behind him, and then very end of it, I untape it, but like that's all it really is. It's just me painting in this background behind this figure, and they're nothing. They're not related to each other at all, except that they happen to be on the same space of the sketchbook. Like there's no, I'm not thinking about the composition or the story or whatever. It's just random stuff, and so yeah. But it is helpful to know. I think that's what social media is most helpful for, is like figuring out like what people actually like about your work in a kind of somewhat anonymous way. But I just don't know what it is. Like the actual original painting I did of that guy, I posted as a reel as well. But that one didn't pop off at all compared to the final background I put on him. So I'm confused. There are some jokes in there though that maybe are a clue, and I'm a little bit worried about that. Where it's like they think he's pooping, he's defecating. Because I was painting in this tree, and I was painting in kind of a brown underpainting, and so I put these like shapes, and some of these ended up under his butt, and he's wearing speedo, so I can do it on live stream without getting in trouble. So I did get yelled at by the live bot the other day, and I wasn't painting anything weird. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't say anything, untoward. It was telling me I was putting up X-rated content, which I was not at all. I wonder if it was interpreting like my thumb as something that wasn't real. So I don't know. The internet's a weird place, right? So everybody kind of there all at the same time. But so that's the only thing I could think of is that. But the gesture art, yeah. But yeah, I think maybe it'd help with the reels. I might start doing voiceovers. I bought like this little microphone, this Bluetooth microphone for my phone. It, like plugs in. So I thought about starting to do that instead of the music thing, just to see what that does. So I can talk all day. Let me just go over the process. But I have a teaching site. I was thinking after I do a few more of these kind of finished paintings, I might do a little course on acrylic illustration up there. See how that goes as far as attracting attention to it. You see linked in the corner, the little, not really linked, but it's the image down there in the corner. But yeah. Yeah, there was an interesting Adobe, who I'm annoyed with. Like, I'm actively de-Adobifying my life. with all the AI nonsense and their subscriptions and all that. I actually get their stuff for free at my university, so like I don't have to pay for it. But they put out a free app last year. You don't even have to log in. So I kind of like that they did that. Um, but it's called Adobe Premiere, but it's not Premiere Pro. It's like it's a mobile version, kind of a Premiere Pro, replaces Adobe Rush, and allows you to do time lapses. I think it'll let you do like the text voiceovers on there. Um, like you can record and put an audio track on it, and then do um, do that. So you could put a. I think it'll do like the text readout on there for you. What they want you to do with it is to buy generative tokens. So they want you to buy AI slop to make videos with. It's kind of a stupid, I think, business model. Maybe it'll work out for them. I don't know, but I doubt it. Um, but so, but it's a good app. So I was looking around at some options because I wanted to trying to get out of the Adobe ecosystem for the most part. Like I'm using Affinity a lot for stuff. I have Clip Studio Paint. I have Corel Painter 2019. I guess there's been updates since then, but I haven't seen any reason to upgrade. And then apps, of course, I like Infinite Painter, which is my favorite painting app. A lot of people like that Procreate app, but I think Infinite Painter does a lot of unique stuff that other ones don't do. I wish it were more popular, but it's just not. Feel bad for the developer. I've met him a couple times, and well, I think the thing is, it's not really getting that much better. A lot of the hype that I see around it, it's only showing it like doing things that have already been done. It's just remixing them. People like say, "Oh, Hollywood is so cooked. Here's this video of these actors that already exist doing fight scenes that already exist. They're just mixing them up together." Um, and then you can't design with it. It can generate an image, but you can't really, you know, tell if you try to make any changes within it, it changes everything quite drastically, which is really bad for design. Like if you're trying to do an illustration that's original or like where it matters, or you're creating work for a client. Like sure, it might do like a render over it or something like that, um, but if you want like a little change, as soon as you make the change, like it changes a lot of things that you don't intend, which makes it again really bad for actually designing with for image stuff. So if I saw something that was like, oh wow, this is like really handy, or this makes me smarter, rather than just showing that I don't do anything, I might be interested in it. But the more I see, it's like, oh, it's not really very good. Even though like it has like a lot of image fidelity, there's a lot of detail and image like textural, maybe textural representation is a good way of saying it. Um, but yeah, it just doesn't really. I think people are more impressed by it than they should be, which is concerning because it's like I know a lot of faculty I work with, they like it, which I find very bizarre because it's basically if it works as well as they think it does, it gets rid of the need for them to have even a teaching job. but they seem to think that somehow they're going to be exempted from AI. Like somehow like they're going to be safe from it. Most people that I've found like really like it. They tend to let's see, how do I put this? They tend to put the limits of the usefulness of AI exactly where they are most specialized. So where like I've seen venture capitalists say, hey, in the future we won't need any other jobs, but we will need venture capitalists, which I just thought was really funny. I think it was that Mark Andreessen guy said that. And I was just like, what the, like, of all the things, right? It does like, supposedly it can handle, data layouts and projections and things like that. And supposedly. And he's saying, oh no, I'll be necessary. Nobody else will, but I will. So, I see a lot of talk like that where I'm just like, I don't think you understand the intent or the scope of what they want to do. I don't know what they'll be able to do exactly. It doesn't seem like doesn't really seem like that much has improved in the last year, really. Like they'll say it does a thing, and then you look into it a little deeper. It's like, no, it doesn't really actually do that thing. It's like people say, oh, it'll solve cancer, which would have been great, for my dad last year. But that's not what it does, like at all. Like it's not capable of that. That's not what it. It's not how it works. Like at all. All right, Bosch. My poor sleepy dog. I feel like I could use another one of these carts. Here I have this like IKEA black cart, and I wish there was kind of one on my left. Yeah, I can move this one on my left over here, and then I have this tray of, I have a drawer full of stuff on my right. Maybe if I kind of rearrange the layout here. But yeah, so that's kind of what I see, going on. So I get somewhat confused when I'm dealing with faculty who want to push this stuff on students who don't want it. And then, let's see. Hopefully my head doesn't get too much now. I'm just trying to work on this part here at the top a little bit. Clean that edge up. So, yeah, I have lots of rants about this. I've had to become over-informed on these issues because of the situation at the university. It's like there was an email that went out to the whole university yesterday. It says, we're facing unprecedented challenges and blah, 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 and the future of education. So more AI. And there's no evidence that AI improves people's skills at all. Like even like the training programs that people, claim can help. Like they've done like studies on those, and they found that it actually makes you worse if you're using the AI training stuff. Like you don't actually get better at things. But the corporate hype beasts are all about it, and I think we're going to be dealing with the ramifications of it soon enough. It's like I look at the little war that Trump and that other country decided to start last night for some reason. That's completely inscrutable to me. And I think that's a larger distraction for other things because they're very worried, I think, about the real problem, which isn't AI, which isn't a nuclear threat from a country that doesn't have them. I think there's real economic problems that they're trying to hide from, and very worried about when that hits because I think it's going to be really, really bad for everybody. It's like, Jack Dorsey, he fired 40% of his company the other day, claiming it was because of AI improvements. But it turned out everyone kind of looked a little deeper at the finances, and he had been overspending by hundreds of millions of dollars in his company. Turned out he'd used the money very poorly. Had some like huge parties and things to for his employees, and hired like rap stars to come in and do stuff. And nothing to do with AI. Everything to do with him not managing his company properly. Block, which I guess Block is some kind of payment system. But he said it was AI, but he was lying, of course. He likes to present himself as like this chill tech bro, but he's always been who he is. Like, like Elon. Um, so I am dubious of all this stuff. I find just it's another tech bubble ready to blow its stack. One of the pro tips I found doing this is very helpful is putting this bottle together. It has acrylic retarder in it, so it's a medium that slows down the drying time of acrylic paint. And so I like to periodically spray it on my paints to kind of keep them fresher for longer. And then it also just makes blending a little bit easier too, because I can come in here and I can carefully paint things overlapping, which I wanted to do. One of the things I want to do is like put some overlapping line things, and so it does dilute the color a little bit, but yeah, I just want to get this back in. A bit darker on this stuff too. And I've got this high flow medium that I like a lot, which I wish I'd gone with high flow acrylics originally, but that was just partially related to my ignorance about the medium. I'm kind of coming to part of the reason why I wanted to improve myself with it was to so yeah, I have a lot of opinions on the subject, so related to the things that I'm seeing going on in the background. Yeah, I feel much better about it these days. So I'm happy about that. I thought the other ones I did were okay. This one was much better than the last kind of finished one I did recently on the left there. And this current one feels even better. I think, again, the problem for me, at least, probably was the fact that I just didn't know how to paint. And now I've got a much better understanding of that. So, and one of the techniques I've kind of found for doing this is generally kind of working the flat color down and then building up like cross hatching on top of that to build up the color properly in the lighting. I think I need to do that to her face down here. Too light. Oh, she's old. So, just figuring out like a general process for working it's made a big difference for me too. Yeah, but I'm excited about the things that I'm doing where I'm at. I'm less worried about the AI thing. It's obviously a bubble. I'm just worried about the ramifications that it will have in the long term and short term on people. Whether it's like the AI psychosis stuff or the reputational harm it's done to people that I would rather respect. You know, It's a real problem. So good morning. We got good, exciting weekend plans. Meanwhile, Bungie had its big launch this weekend. Well, not big launch, their server slam, right? Seems to not be going all that well. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are we doing? Internet people. Let's see. Glary over here. Now look, we got our bot over. Denied. What? Good morning. Just hyper focused on this thing today. Alright, let's get some kind of foggy shadows behind those vines. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Warmer interior edge next. I wanted to push through on some things today, so spend a little extra time on this. This way. Good morning. All right, we'll go for an hour, I think. Try just to crank as much as I can in terms of finishing on this. Hopefully do some touch-up tomorrow. So we're kind of working back to front most here. And Alright, that feels much better. I'm going to get some lighter stuff on the vines. Just some little touch-ups here and there with some colder and lighter stuff. I think that's a good value shift. Mm-hmm. Good morning. I'm quiet out there. Interesting. What do the people building AI believe? Good morning. Good morning. light on that stuff. Some ambient occlusion in here, huh? I think that's a good idea. Alright, what did that? Alright, we got 40 minutes before it's time to have something to eat. Good morning. Alright. Alright, should probably focus a little bit on the figure. Clean up some of the drawing on here. Let's see. There we go. Let's get careful. Okay. Trying to shift this more to the yellow. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're at. Good morning. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3. All right. So, oh. That goes to there. Good morning. How are we doing for time? 30, 20 minutes or so? All right. All right. Good morning. If you don't have access to a live model, well, there's a lot of good books, right? I would start with those. I mean, you can work with photographs, but you can also just get a friend to pose. So, for example, if you don't have to have them pose nude necessarily. You have them, wear shorts or regular clothes or something like that. But you can always get, friends often are good with that. It's like coming over and, hey, I'm trying to practice my figure stuff. I'll give you my drawing or whatever. A lot of people get excited about that kind of thing. So I would. That's a good way of doing it. I would, study structure. Obviously, the classics I think are always the best. Um, so things like Loomis and Bridgman are always really helpful. His books. So, I don't know, is there a particular thing that you are trying to study? Like, is there something specifically that you're trying to accomplish? Because that's always helpful too. Like, if you're depending on what you want to do, that tells you a lot about what you should learn. But yeah, again, the Loomis figure drawing, for all it's worth, I think is one of the best books on figure drawing. I like the drawings that George Bridgman does in the Bridgman Complete Guide to Drawing to Figure. Um, like both of those are really, really good. Okay, so Frazetta is someone who would have looked at Bridgman and Loomis a lot. there's probably even quotes where he's talking about them. But another good thing to do is just to do copy work. So if you really like, music here. If you really like Frazetta, then I would definitely do copies of Frazetta's drawings. And he has a really deep understanding of anatomy and proportion and structure. And, so he's definitely someone that I would, definitely recommend looking at. Getting his images and copying them. You learn a lot doing that. I'm a real big believer in doing copy studies. I mean, you can. I would definitely look at other people just because they're probably better. But, people I like to look at lately are a lot of these kind of sketchy, sketchy kind of comics people like James Herron or Daniel Warren Johnson. These kind of intense, sketchy guys. Or Sean Gordon Murphy. But that would be my general recommendation, would be those kinds of things. I had a figure drawing course. I haven't put it up online because I wanted to rework it. But it's definitely kind of something that I need to do. Well, those would be my general recommendations. There's always more, but those are all good places to kind of start if you're not certain. So, one of the things that Frazetta is really good at is a really strong anatomy, sense of gesture. His characters generally doing something very specific. He has a lot of comic stuff he did before he got into the painting thing. Those could be worth looking up too. This is acrylic. So acrylic is sort of a newish medium for me. I had to use it as a student, and I did not like it when I was a student. It was not a medium I liked using. And I had to use it last semester for a painting class, illustration class I was teaching. And it came off better than I thought. So I was like, well, maybe I need to kind of re-examine my relationship with acrylic paint. And so over the last few months here, I've just been doing a bunch of these studies and paintings. Some of them longer term, some of them shorter term. Like the last page was like a bunch of short term photo studies. If you are looking for photo reference, if you go on ArtStation, there's actually a bunch of the people that make photo references. They have sample packs and like free packs on there, where you can get either it's fewer or they give you a whole pack of figure stuff. And this is actually from one of those, I think. And obviously you can go on Pinterest or search for figure stuff online, but the packs are just kind of handy to have access to. And so if you're looking for reference and don't have a model, that can be helpful. But again, I would definitely talk to a friend. Say, hey, I'm trying to learn some figure drawing. You don't have to pose nude or anything, but can you come over and sit for me for an hour and watch a movie and I'll draw. How long have I taught art? I started teaching at universities in 2004. So it's been a long time. Let's see, 46, all right, 15 more minutes. And then I'll go eat something today. move on to the next project. So I thought I would just put some extra time into this today. I need to still light her face properly. I did the drawing to be correct, but it's not lit correctly, so I need to go back and do that, but I wanted to do that in a focused kind of way. Yeah, so I've been teaching since 2004. Figure drawing is actually the first thing I taught. So I've taught that probably the most. So I haven't taught it in a few years now. Just because I have a different teaching position at the moment. But I'll get set up so tomorrow I can put a good session in. Well, yeah, it's an opportunity to make good friends, right? A lot of artists are very reclusive and antisocial. That's pretty common. We like to make our little things and be left alone. But at some point, you got to put yourself out there, right? You got to put your work out there and go out yourself. So that's something to kind of factor in as well into the long-term plans as an artist. And you kind of have to try things out. Yeah, well, it's not always easy to meet people, that's for sure. But it is worthwhile. Like, there's a lot of good people out there doing nice things and all that jazz. So, I'm not exactly Mr. Social myself, but I like my students, and most of the people I work with, and all that. But yeah. So, but family members, parents, etc. Those are often good sources too. But you can also just take the things you've learned, like go to a public place and draw the people there. Like go to a park or a mall or cafe and with your sketchbook and just sketch people. As long as you're not being like weird about it, um, that's a perfectly very good thing to do, actually. Ride the subway and draw the people there, depending where you live. Or the bus. Just get on to the end of the line and then go back. I think a lot of people that would do that. Just kind of get on a bus and ride it till it stops, and then get back on it, go on the other way, and just don't stare at people in awkward ways. Get quick glimpses, and most people don't mind most of the time. Oh, North Carolina, that's not very far from me. So, there's cafes and stores and malls and parks, right? I'm sure there are out there. I live in Virginia, so I teach at Virginia Commonwealth University. Um, there used to be a website, I don't know if it's still around. We used to document where speed drawing stuff is happening. Maybe there's something nearby. We just don't know. Sometimes we just don't know about things, right? So, yeah, that's not a big deal. Paint's getting thick. So I'd like to finish this up over the next couple of days. I can move on to something else. Need to get this light on her face probably tomorrow. Yeah, I think if you look up like fine figure drawings or something like that, fine figure drawing sessions, there might be a website that can help you figure out where to go. Because they happen all over the place. They're not that rare. You'd be surprised. It could be one at a local, nearby university that you could go to, or a art supply shop. Sometimes they'll have galleries. Been known to do them. Could just be a private session somebody's running nearby. You just don't know. Might even ask your art supply shop if there's like some kind of art supply place there. Ask, hey, is there any local figure drawing sessions? I'm looking to get some practice and sometimes you'll be surprised by what's actually nearby. You just don't know. So it could be something within an hour or half an hour of where you live. So So I would definitely check that out. Because you never know. There could be something right there with lots of really cool people and can help you out and answer your questions and, right there where you're at. I think she's going to be the focus next time. Come in. Hopefully get it mostly done, and then probably finish on Monday if all goes well with this thing, and then I need to figure out what's next. This medium's getting really dry. Time. Oh, we're almost done. For today, time is almost up. Now I gotta get cleaned up and have something to eat. And I got some pages to do to knock out of the park for today. And tomorrow we'll focus on her. Get knocked out, and hopefully just do some touch-ups the next day. Paint that hole in at some point too, and whatever she's holding on to here. The model in the picture's got this like specialty stand that she's using to pose on. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, I would definitely look around. I bet there's probably something within distance you just don't know about it. And, you know, finding out about stuff like that can make a big difference. And let's see, knock all this back. The dog's going to start pestering me in a second here for his afternoon snack. Yeah, I would do copies of Frazetta for sure. You know, have your sketchbook and copy his drawings. There's a lot of stuff out there on the internet that you can find for him. If anything, actually, some of the image searches have gotten a little bit better. Just because, you know, they're starting to filter out a lot of the AI stuff that nobody really wants anyway. It doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't help you figure out something. For a while, I was starting to document like some of those sites on like a blog, but I gave that up a long time ago. Snap that back a bit. Anyway, I'm going to call it there. I need to eat something today. And had a pretty good session. I feel like I moved some stuff forward, especially in the background. And dog's going to want his stuff too. So thanks for coming in. And I'll talk to you all later.